Olá a todos, bem-vindos a mais uma conversa da Look Mag. Hoje tenho o enormíssimo prazer de ter comigo Geoff Tate. Ele mesmo. O Geoff tem um concerto marcado para Lisboa, para Portugal, e está a chegar muito em breve, está a caminho, neste momento está à Itália, e tirou um bocadinho para falar connosco. Geoff, I was saying that you are coming to Lisbon, and it's almost time to see you on stage, and everybody is very anxious. So, first of all, thank you for accepting our invitation and welcome to our talks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
I would like to begin by asking you something. First myth, then Queensrÿche. How did music come into your life?
Wow. Well, music came into my life at a very young age. I started playing piano when I was 9 years old and sang in church choir. I was in school band all through school, played trumpet in the school orchestra. And then I discovered rock and roll in the well, actually, 1969 was my year of discovery, really. I was 10 years old. And I've been on a musical path ever since.
When you began, when you find rock, and when you discover this wonderful world of music and rock music, I think it's the greatest music in the world. My opinion. When you discovered it, who were the main vocalists that you look up and you imagine one day I will be like him?
Wow, let's see. There was so many, really.
At the time.
I grew up in that wonderful time of the 1960s and 70s where there was so much music going on and so many people collaborating together, and it was kind of a free form experimental time in music. So there were so many artists and bands that I listened to. As far as singing goes, I can remember when I was very young seeing uh, uh, a British singer called Tom Jones, who was
Yeah.
on television in America, and he had a television show that was very, very popular. And I used to watch that show with my family and think, oh my gosh, he's a great, great singer, and he just had so much charisma. So probably early on, it was Tom Jones who was a major influence on me as a singer.
Beside the voice of Tom Jones, all the way that he sung and that he sing and the things that he do on stage, it was very characteristic of him, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, he sang with a lot of power and a lot of
Yes.
emotion very passionately. And I think I picked up on that at a very young age that it was something that seemed to resonate, with me.
Yeah, yeah. You stood as the lead singer of Queensrÿche during the 80s until you depart the band. Can you share with us some memories from those days? And how did you came up with this very unique type of music that you all made?
Well, there's so many memories. We
I
were a
imagine
band
so.
for 30 years of making
Exactly.
music. I don't know how many albums we made, like 17 albums, something like that. We were very productive. Uh,
Yes, you were.
Very productive, and I'm very, very proud of the legacy that Queensrÿche created. And I love the music. I love every song. Every song is part of me. So yeah, I have a lot of fond memories touring the world for the first time. Opening up for bands and artists that I truly respected. We opened up for I don't even know how many bands. I should know this answer, how many different artists we opened up for in our years, but I think we spent 10 or 15 years as an opening act,
Yes.
touring the world, gaining an audience, making our own music. And uh Ronnie James Dio was a mentor of mine. He was very influential in teaching me how the business works and how to tour. Gene Simmons from Kiss, another very influential musician in my life, wonderful man. Uh, gosh, how do we come up with the music? Well, a lot of music, is an individual thing where you sit at your instrument and you play something and it just comes to you, and then you find a pattern you like and you sort of develop from there. And then if you're in a band, you share that discovery that you have with your bandmate or your writing partner, and you can develop it further, with their influence as well. Which Chris DeGarmo, my writing partner in Queensrÿche, we did that quite a bit. That was our process, was sharing ideas and working out, um, the arrangement for the song or the musical piece, and then we'd share it with the other guys and create a song. But really, I guess the process is about communication, you know, and discovery.
You refer communication. I think is the best thing we have in the world now. Is not very being practiced by the great leaders of this world, but it's the main thing to support us all together. Communication.
It
Don't you
is.
think?
And we're living in such a wonderful time, the 21st century, where we're able to communicate around the world
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're all in every country, in every society, we're all sharing our ideas, our observations, our insights. And all that sharing, creates sort of a combustible world view,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think in our lifetime, we'll see that. We'll see less and less emphasis on borders and flags, and we'll see more of an emphasis on a world community.
Let's hope so. It's my expectation for the years to come. Tell me one thing. Fusing elements of traditional metal with progressive rock was something very innovative for that time. Do you realize how important it was for the bands after you to hear your sound?
Hmm. Well, at the time, I suppose I didn't think of it fully,
Yeah.
but over time, I've had many, 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 many musicians tell me that and say, if it wasn't for you and your band, I wouldn't be doing this. They were influenced by what we did, which is an amazing compliment, and it humbles me to hear that kind of testimony. But on the other hand, I think that's what music is all about. We all share our musical ideas with each other, and every musician is influenced by another musician, and that's how it works, and that's how it grows. I was influenced by different musicians who helped form, and my musical palette, my musical ideas came from other people sharing their ideas with me. So it's it's an evolution, I guess. Music is really an evolutionary process.
Yes, absolutely. After you leave the band, you reinvented yourself as a solo artist, and you have a unique ability to tell stories with your music through the music. What inspires you to write?
Hmm. Well,
Italy
different
inspires
things.
you. Italy inspires you to write.
Italy is definitely inspiring me to write. I am so in love with this country and where I live here in Umbria. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, and so much history and so much human history has happened here.
Yeah, yeah,
That you really feel it and you see it and you experience it all around you, and of course that um, is very inspiring. And I think that's very important as a musician to be in a place that's inspiring to be in, where you want to feel excited and you want to feel something intense, because that's what brings out the music in you, you know? So there we are.
and can you give us a glimpse into your creative process? How does it work?
Yeah, sure. For me, the creative process begins with a schedule and being um, able to start your day with music. For instance, if I'm working on a piece of music, I typically will leave it unfinished
Mhm.
so that I have a place to start the next day. And so I begin with that piece of music and working on it and develop it to a point uh, based upon where I left it the previous day. So for me, I need a schedule. I need to be able to start at like 10 a.m. with my coffee, sitting at the keyboard and the computer and with my recording gear. And I work that way, you know, and it's been that way for 30 years and definitely a lot easier now because, back uh, in the past, we would have to remember our ideas and write them down on paper and then wait and book a studio time and go in and record the idea. And maybe a month would pass before you had the ability to write your idea out, you know? And nowadays, I can just open up my suitcase, unpack my equipment, set it up. It takes 10 minutes, and boom, I'm working on the idea that's still in my head. So it's a much more immediate process. And I love that.
Do you think it's more organic?
Yes, absolutely more organic. Because it's fast. In fact, if I wanted to,
Mhm.
I could compose a song in one day, put it all together, play all the instruments myself, and put it out on the internet
Yeah.
in one day. You know, never before could you do that. It's so, yeah. So if you have an immediate idea that's very topical and maybe you have to capitalize on a situation that's going on in the world, you can do it very quickly nowadays.
Mhm, mhm. And how do you keep your voice in this absolutely wonderful shape?
I have to work at it. Yeah, it's a muscle, so you
It's a
have to keep
muscle, yeah.
working to keep it working correctly. I try not to take too many days off.
Yeah,
I try to sing every day, and it keeps it keeps working. I think because I use it so much. You know,
yeah, because it's
and there's a
absolutely
there's a
wonderful.
there's an American saying, "Use it or lose it."
It applies well in the voice theme.
It
And
does.
in your opinion, what is the best thing of being a musician, Geoff?
The best thing about being a musician.
Musician, yeah.
Oh, well, I tell you, there's a level of spirituality that you achieve as a musician when you play music with other people. Uh, you don't even have to look at each other. You're just using the sense of hearing and feeling, and you play together almost in a trance-like state that
Mhm.
you become very used to that and very intoxicated by it. And after a while, it becomes something that you need to do, you know, more than you want to do. You need to do it because you need to feel that connection again. And there have been so many times that I've felt that live playing with musicians where we call it being on the same page, where you're all doing what you're doing and you're actually doing it better than you could do on your own, because of the energy and the synthesis of all the different personalities working together. You go from this to this, you
Yeah.
know, and it's the best thing.
It's the
Yeah.
best thing. My
Mhm.
son is musician, so I know what it is. When he come together with all the guys here at home, mind blowing.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you don't do only music. You do wine. How did wine
Yes.
become to be a part of your life?
Um, well, I enjoy drinking wine. First off, I enjoy drinking wine, and I enjoy trying wine from different regions of the world because I travel so much. I've been touring in 66 countries around the world, so I try wine wherever I go, and it's an amazing experience. Wine is the beverage of the gods. You know, it is
Yeah.
one of the first things humans developed. You know, and so it became part of my life, kind of by accident. When I was 14 years old, I was a Boy Scout.
Jesus, did you have
Yeah.
with 14? Did you drink wine? No,
No, I never
no.
had had drank wine before,
Yeah.
but you could get a badge if
Hmm.
you created a beverage or a food product, you know. And so my grandmother had a house, and I was in charge of taking care of it for the summer. And she had a grassy garden, but it was filled with a type of what we call dandelions. It's a kind of a weed,
Yeah.
and I was reading this book, and it said that you could make wine from dandelions. And so I thought, okay, well, I have a huge amount of dandelions here, and I need that merit badge. So I made some wine. And I didn't know what it tasted like. I just followed the directions, you know, in the book. And I gave some wine to my parents' friends, and they tried it, and they said, "Oh, well, it's surprisingly good." You know, wow, how did you do this? And I explained it, and they went, "You made wine from dandelions."
That's wonderful. Did you got the badge?
I got the badge, yes.
And your wine is called Insania. Why Insania? Why this name?
Well, my my friend Andy Sosolinkro and I were tasting the different possibilities of making the wine. We were starting to blend it and trying different vintages of the grapes, and we came upon this one particular combination of grapes, and insane. It was just insane the way it tasted. It was crazy, you know, and so it became insania.
That's wonderful. Do you know any Portuguese wine? Have you tasted the wine, Portuguese wine before?
Oh, of course, yes, yes. It's
Do you have a favorite?
no,
A
I don't have a
favorite?
favorite, but this time when I come to Lisbon, I plan on locating my favorite Portuguese wine this time, and I'm going to buy a case of it and send it home so I have it.
You are now you are in Italy. It's one of the best places with good wine also, because
Yes.
in Europe we have different kind of wine because of the
Hmm.
geography and because of the weather, and it's so vast, all the possibilities of drinking wine in Europe. It's kind of mind-blowing. We could be drunk
It is.
every day with different wines. Yeah.
Yes, you could drink a different wine every day for the rest of your life.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Returning to music, how do you feel about the music industry in nowadays, and musicians in particular? Do you think they are they have more, is more easy for them than it was for you to be a musician? But on the other side, the industry with all the internet and all the media, the social media, becomes a little bit harder to come out among all the others.
Well, yes, it is so much easier to make music these days, but it is so much more difficult. In fact, it's almost impossible to make a living doing it.
Yeah.
You know, there are, of course, exceptions, and certain artists that are selling, you know, millions and millions of tickets to shows and things like that. But hardly anybody is making money from selling music, the actual music itself, because the industry uh, basically came apart and exploded, you know, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago now, I guess. And it has never recovered. And so where musicians were able to make a living selling their music, nowadays they have to sell 8 to 10 times as many units as they used to have to sell. You know, if that makes sense, because they get paid so much less. And it's horribly unfair and very difficult. And I feel very sorry for younger musicians who haven't had a chance to be discovered and have an audience. You know, I'm very fortunate in the fact that I started so long ago, and I have audiences everywhere in the world. You know, so it's a whole different thing for me than it is for like a younger musician starting out. But what I tried to do is with my neighbor leaving. So what I try to do is help younger musicians who are starting out by giving them exposure to my audience. I have an opening act that's going to be on my tour in Lisbon. Ivory Lake. Josh Watt is the singer, and I've known him for quite a few years, and he's incredibly talented. And so I'm sharing my audience with him because I really believe in his music, and I believe in him, and I think he needs to have a chance to for people to hear him. You know,
Mhm.
and I think all successful musicians should try to do that for up and coming musicians too. You know,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
help each other.
Absolutely. And what advice do you have to young musicians that are beginning now, as my son?
Ah, well, advice. Well, I think that when it comes to music, you know what to do. You play from your heart, and you make your music in your statement. You know, artistically. If you want to make a living doing it, it's very difficult. You you have to play music because it's in your heart
Yeah.
and your soul, and not because you're trying to get rich. You know, because you won't get rich.
We won't get rich.
No, you won't get rich. Very unlikely.
Very unlikely, very unlikely. You are
Mhm.
coming to Lisbon next 10 of March. How do you prepare yourself for a gig, Geoff?
I well, usually every day I wake up, I exercise, I work on my music for a while, I warm up singing. Every day I try to take a sound check, which really helps me know uh, the room that I'm playing in, and helps with adjusting my monitors so I can hear myself correctly. But really, it's about um, warming up, you know, keeping loose and mobile, and keeping your body strong and healthy, you know, not drinking too much.
Just a little bit to get warm.
just just a little bit to warm up, yes.
And what can we expect from the concert?
Well, we're bringing the Big Rock Show, which is an interesting set of my music from almost all of my different records. There's a song from that album, and they're songs that are were fairly well known songs,
Mhm.
songs that were singles on the radio, or we made videos of these songs. So it's a lot of familiar music that most people would know, you know, which is great because people sing along, they know the music, they're shouting, they're dancing, they're jumping up and down. It's a great experience, actually. I really enjoy playing this show.
And what are your expectations regarding the concert?
I have expectations of the audience to sing along with every song,
And to jump a lot.
to jump a lot.
For someone that doesn't know you, what would you say to them to convince them to go to the concert?
uh, oh, I don't know what I would say. I'm not very good at selling my own music.
You sell better the wine.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. I would say it's a unique experience with uh, great musicians playing songs that you've heard on the radio or you have in your collection. And my band is fantastic. They're an international band. I have an Irish guitar player, an Italian guitar player. I have a French guitar player. I have a Portuguese, Brazilian keyboard player, Bruno Sa, who's joining me, and I have an American drummer. So we have two Americans in the group, and I tell you, it's a fantastic group of people who play the music amazingly. They're so dedicated to the music. It's almost note for note perfect every night. And it's probably the best band I've ever played with. They're fantastic.
It's kind of United Nations of music you have there.
It truly is.
Geoff, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a safe journey to Portugal. And I'll see you on the 10th of March. And I hope everybody comes to see you because you deserve it. You are the best.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. See you
Thank you.
soon.
See you.
Bye bye.